Hello, dear friends. So I'm still traveling. I'm right now in Mallorca and at a conference. It's the Sages and Scientists Conference in Europe that we are leading, the Chopra Foundation, along with Sadhana Works. And I met some very interesting people, including some fascinating people who are doing some research on the application of scents, perfumes, fragrances, however you want to call that, for the healing process. So, as you know, if you followed some of my videos, I've been a avid follower on the research on olfaction. And I've covered this in previous videos, including the fact that olfaction is very, very dominant as a sensory experience in dogs. So if you arrive at you leave a location now, and a dog arrives there a few hours later, for dog you're still present, because for the dog that is the most powerful sensory experience, or it's very powerful, let's say. We know that salmon go back to their spawning grounds through the memory of smell. We know that birds look for food, etc., through the sense of smell, although they navigate through ultraviolet navigation. And we know that you and I are triggered into memory and emotion through the sense of smell. You smell baking bread, you remember your mother, the kitchen, and all the sensations, sensory experiences of that time, and memory and emotions all come together. And smell is one of the most primordial senses there ever was. And there's a lot of evidence to suggest that smell is primordial. And we can look at all the research on smell, and we'll see that smell is considered one of the most primordial senses. It is thought to be the most ancient and volatile sense. Volatile, that's a good word. The smell comes through volatility. And it's crucial for detecting and encoding environmental cues. Smell is deeply connected to memory and emotions, making it a powerful and primitive sense. So this led me to actually other things to discover about smell. And that included the fact that olfaction is also a quantum phenomenon. And why do I say this? Olfaction is considered a quantum phenomenon due to the vibrational theory, which suggests that molecular vibrations and inelastic electron tunneling may play a role in smell perception. And so the quantum model of olfaction explains the perception of different smells. There's a lot of experimental evidence that supports the quantum nature of smell. And we all know that we are influenced by smell. What we don't recognize sometimes, that when you smell something, you smell another person's perfume, you're inhaling molecules of their body into your body. When somebody is smoking a cigarette in the distance, you're inhaling the contaminated gas of that person into your body, even though they are, say, 100 yards away. When somebody has an explosion of intestinal gas, otherwise known as a fart, you're inhaling fecal matter into your body. Now, these gases, whether it's fecal smell, perfume smell, cigarette smell, or any smell, that's just the tracer. If you didn't have the tracer, you're still inhaling other people's bodies as you walk around anywhere where there are people or with their animals, you're inhaling molecules of their body. So not only do we share the same breath, but we recycle the same molecules through the breath. So I am constantly recycling my molecules with other people, and other people are also recycling their molecules with me. And of course, we know that smell as a sensory process is quantum in nature. That's a lot of evidence. We also know that photosynthesis, which is the basis of life on this planet, is quantum in nature. And these primordial senses, now more and more evidence is emerging that all sensory processing could be quantum. So then the question is, does sensory experience in general, smell, but also taste, also perception of colors, shapes, forms, what we call sight, sound, do these actually link with our emotions and thought processes and perceptions? They obviously do. You remember experience through your five senses, and the experience is coded, even at a quantum level, as sensory information. And I believe it's coded in the quantum or qualia field, but that's another discussion. But does sensory experience then play a crucial role in biological evolution? That's the question to ask. And the answer seems to be that sensory systems are essential for organisms to interact with what we call their environments, which of course, I don't like the word. The environment is our extended body. But in any case, sensory systems are essential for organisms to interact with their environments, and they influence behaviors and adaptations that enhance survival and reproduction. The evolution of sensory systems such as chemosensation, smell and taste, that's sensation of chemicals, is driven by natural selection to optimize signal detection in diverse environments, contributing to local adaptation and even speciation. Sensory input also mediates responses to environmental changes, affecting species fitness and evolutionary trajectories. Overall, sensory systems are integral to evolutionary process, shaping how organisms adapt to their ecological niches. This is the research that I just uncovered. So go a little further. Since sensory experiences occur in consciousness, can we postulate consciousness guides evolution and survival? And after a lot of research from lots of resources, this is the answer I have to offer you. The idea that consciousness guides evolution and survival is supported by several theories. Consciousness may have evolved to enhance social communication and cooperation. I don't think that's true. Consciousness gave rise to social evolution and survival. In any case, the concept conscious evolution suggests that humans can actively influence their evolutionary path through intentional choices and cultural advancements, and that leads to biological evolution. Additionally, consciousness provides adaptive advantages by enabling complex behaviors like planning and reflection, which are essential to survival. The exact role of consciousness in biological evolution, of course, is debated, and of course, my critics say that it's all hogwash. Consciousness guiding evolution is all hogwash. It's random mutations and natural selection. Yes, I think it's natural selection of qualia experiences, and it's not random, it's very creative. Random is a word for unpredictability. Unpredictability is a word for creativity. So as we look at the future, what we can hope to see And we will be also using AI to enhance our experiences of virtual reality. And they will be actually leapfrogging, as I've said, our social evolution, but our biological evolution. And it is still driven by consciousness, because AI is all the models of reality, large language models that have been created by the human mind, which is a species-specific mode of knowing and experience in consciousness, the field of all possibilities. Selectively choosing sensory experience is the key to conscious evolution, cultural, social, and biological. And this is the future. By understanding consciousness and how it guides evolution through sensory processes, we'll be able to make the next leap of our evolution from human to metahuman. Let me know your thoughts. Take care, my friends.